I know you were not being rigid. I know that because I don't think you're not rigid. I know that.
Was not obtuse on purpose.
No, I knew you weren't being rigid. It was more just like, it's true. It was more like, I know you'll get archetypes. That's all. I knew it wasn't because of a rigidity where you, yeah, you got it. It was just like, oh my gosh, how do we, but you're right. This is a better way to explain it.
This is Other Maria, the podcast of our real-life conversations about personal evolution, society, relationships, spirituality, and everything else. We're getting vulnerable in these good faith talks and sometimes respectfully disagreeing about which of us is wrong. Just kidding, there's no right and wrong. We're just two friends sitting around talking shit. Wait, talking about deep shit, right? That's what we're doing? Yeah, enjoy. Oh, that was what was really cool too. After the breathwork thing with that lady Kimberly.
Yes.
And the energy healing and that crazy like drugless ayahuasca trip that I fucking went on. It's insane. She was talking about just like how we would get the energy moving like below my chest, and she was like, yeah, you'll breathe differently after. And swear to God, since then it's subtle, but I breathe differently.
I believe you, because that's what I need so bad. I'm so excited. I can't breathe well right now, and I'm like very aware.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to do like some breathing exercises. Oof, I'm clogged up. I'm all stuffy.
Yeah,
my cells stuffy.
First she was itchy, now she's
stuffy.
Right.
I was emotionally itchy, and now I'm emotionally stuffy.
Hi guys.
Hi guys. Welcome in.
Welcome in. It feels like it's been a minute, but I don't think it has. Because the last one we did was
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, recording, but
so much has happened in 2 weeks.
That's so true.
Yeah. I feel like so much has happened in 2 weeks.
Maria had a drugless ayahuasca trip.
That's true.
And I quit my job.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
High five. Yeah, it's been wild. The synchronicities are popping off. We are conducting electricity without... Hi.
My very old baby cat, who's 20.
Old baby sister cat.
Old baby sister cat. I'm her sister mom.
Elderly baby sister.
And how far can we take this? But
that will be the name of the episode.
Elderly baby sister cat.
Yeah.
Elderly baby sister cat. She's getting over a UTI, and she's doing much better, but she's just like hasn't had a visitor in a while. Now Maria's here, and she's wandering around in our presence. So.
And cats are straight up aliens, just generally.
It's true. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of blind too, so that's always like fun to add to the mix. Yeah.
Good girl, Spot.
Hey, Spotty.
Hi. Okay, so where do we start? We are burning down the system one piece at a time, one person at a time. No, I'm just kidding. Man. Yeah.
Spot included.
Spot's part of it.
She's part of it.
Spot's the first follower.
Yeah, right.
Special guest on the podcast today is Spot.
Sit down, honey. Yeah, Maria and I have been having such lit conversations with people lately. Mm-hmm. And just, I don't know, where do we even start? I don't even know.
I don't know either.
Well, recently, our very good friend, Katie, had this little, like, spiritual symposium, and it was so fun and cool and sweet.
Oh, yeah, let's start there.
And it was, like, 15 women, I don't know, something like that, and coming in and out at different times. And, like, each just sharing a little bit about like, something that they're interested in. And, like, there was Reiki, and there was meditation, and there was tarot, and there was chatting, and I don't know.
Intuitive art.
There was,
what was the other one? Oh, human design.
Oh, human design, yeah.
And then there were supposed to be a couple other things. But essentially, it was just, like, this really cool gathering.
Spiritual symposium.
Yeah.
It was just what she called it. It was great. It was such a cool gathering. But a quick snippet was that Maria and our friend Emma were there before me, and then they left right when I got there. And so then I was there for a chunk after they were there. And during that conversation, I was talking about tarot with everybody. The word archetype came up, and we were like talking out what an archetype is. A lot of people didn't seem to understand what they were. And like Maria has struggled with the definition of archetype. And I kind of have internalized it, but I still don't have great language around how to explain it to people.
Mm-hmm. Boob punch.
By Spot, not Maria. And so I have this archetype tarot deck. It's literally called the Archetypes deck, the Wild Unknown. And Maria and I were talking about it a little earlier today, and we were saying we should look at the definition of archetype from this book.
Yeah, so I guess for me, it's like I hear that word all the time in different places, and it seems to be
like broad and vague.
Yeah, it seems very broad and vague to me, and then every time I feel like I try to sum it up, it's like, yes, but also this, that, and the other, and I'm just like, wait, what? And also, this book lists 78 archetypes.
Yeah.
And I really, from other places I've heard, the 8 archetypes, or like there's 14.
No,
or like,
no.
And so that's why I was asking you before.
No,
Like,
I would say they're probably infinite. She did 78 to make it like a tarot deck, I bet you.
No, totally. But what I'm saying is it just seems to be so fluid for me that I really cannot put my finger on what the heck it even means.
Totally.
It just seems like such a
But I bet she has a definition in there.
a word without a definition. The original of its kind, the first image, the inherited emerging pattern, the initial and eternal energy.
Maria's like, that is not helpful.
This actually makes sense to me.
There it is.
The name itself implies that these energies,
Mm-hmm. That's a good word.
that makes sense to me.
Energies
Have been swirling since the beginning of time, blah, 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 blah. So archetypes are essentially just different energies that, to me, thus far, in the 4 seconds that I've been trying to understand this, seems like energies of the human experience.
Through a symbol.
I don't understand again.
Like the symbol being the mother, the mountain, the witch, the faucet. I mean, seriously, I think you could make anything an archetype.
The faucet.
Sure.
Is that a real one, or did you just...
I made it up.
Okay, great.
But the way
I think that's what confuses me, too.
I get it.
It's like, but if it's something that you could make up, then...
Okay, but you're not making up that it's an archetype. You're exploring it as an archetype, which is this idea of the like symbology of the energy around this thing or whatever. So like a faucet, for me, the way I would like approach it as an archetype would be if I was like, certainly they go well as metaphors a lot, where it's just like, oh, I'm just like an open faucet right now, like just pouring out. Mm-hmm. Because like, what do faucets do? Describe a faucet. And so you could be like, okay, a faucet, it is functional. It provides water. You can turn it on and off. Through exploring the symbology and the energy around it, it can become the symbol of like a bigger energy idea. So like the idea of the faucet is that it provides nourishment, it provides hydration.
Right.
But also like it moves like it
So then let me ask
this.
So then the archetype in that example, is it the overarching energy or is it the actual fucking faucet?
The faucet. The faucet's the archetype, and then the way to describe that as an archetype, rather than just like an object, would be talking about the energies around a faucet. And I would never have thought of a faucet this deeply if I didn't internalize the idea of archetype.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out like a good example of when it first started clicking for me. I know Mother did, but here, I just flipped to Mother, so let's just read what they have to say in this book about Mother. The Great Mother, the Feminine, the Source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life-giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beat for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on the earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. Within the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives, yet clings. She creates, yet restricts. Amid this complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. Mm-hmm. So you're like, exploring the idea of the mother. It's just like the idea of the faucet.
Okay, so it's far more philosophical than anything else.
Way philosophical.
Because I guess for me, it was like, it made sense when that first line about like, it's the energy.
Yeah.
But then adding through a symbol made it feel superfluous and confusing again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm just not going to understand this one right now. And I'm totally fine with that.
I mean, I think I confused it by saying the faucet.
That might not have been the most accessible way to...
Absolutely not. Like 100% not. But let me read you a few of the names of archetypes in this book, and just to... The mother, the father. But so, okay, there are the selves, the places, the tools, and the initiations in this
Read
book.
me the tools. That sounds
Great.
cool.
The flame, the tear, the riddle, the vow, the vision, the gem, the ring, the nectar, the medallion, the kiss, the mask, the sword, the venom, the offering, the prayer, the seed, the stone, the mirror, the vessel, the thread.
You got a good rhythm going.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I just don't understand
whatever.
how like literally anything could be an archetype.
Because you're being really literal about it. It's like not literal at all. It's philosophical and a way to explore. And for me, that was what it was. It was so mind-opening because it's very loose. It's just like trying to say there's one definition for a chair when every person would have a different view of that chair. So it's just like exploring perspectives. No, you're right. You're not going to get it right now. But I think you could get it. There's some like rigidity happening where it's confusing to like try to, because you're trying to get like this like concrete definition, but the problem is it's so not concrete because it's just exploratory. That's what it feels like to me. That was when I started to be like, oh, an archetype, interesting. Because like, I guess because it had me seeing two different sides or several sides to the same thing, where I might have always looked at this one concept one way.
Right, which is a thing that I can do.
I know you can.
Right, so what confuses me
yeah.
is I literally don't understand the meaning of the word, I think is the problem.
Yeah, and this is where I think this
Because I
definition
understand
here...
in practice, like this experiment of like being philosophical about perspectives about a given thing, whether it's an energy or a role or a tool or whatever it is, I fully fucking get that.
Can I have my phone? And then I promise we can move off this topic shortly. But yes, you're right. Let's try to find an actual definition of the word.
Right, because we can talk about the archetype of the carpet all day. I'm just not... And that would actually be kind of cool and then like make some art about it.
Right.
But what I'm confused about is like, what is this word?
Jung archetypes are a concept from psychology that refers to a universal inherited idea, pattern of thought, or image that is present in the collective unconscious of all human beings. The psychic counterpart of instinct, archetypes are thought to be the basis of many of the common themes and symbols that appear in stories, myths, and dreams across different cultures and societies. Some examples of archetypes include, and these are like the more...
Wait, pause. That first chunk, give it to me one more time, a little bit slower.
Sure. Jungian archetypes are a concept from psychology that refers to a universal, inherited idea, pattern of thought, or image that is present in the collective unconscious of all human beings.
Stop. Got it.
No, yeah, that's the yellow.
No, that was it.
There it is.
Got it.
Make sense?
Now it makes sense.
Hey, yes! It just took looking up at it. No, because that makes sense to me too, that it was confusing. Because I still can't repeat that to anyone when I try to explain it. I just internalized it. So now it's like, you're right, I'm not being helpful trying to explain this to you. Like, I was trying to explain it to the group, and all I had them doing was name out things that came to mind with the mother.
Because that has a lot more information than calling it energies. And that also makes it clear sort of like what the word is indicating towards.
Right.
And also makes sense where you're just like the water bottle, the lamp.
Yes.
Like, got it. Now I get it.
Because then what you do with that image is explore the unconscious stuff. We all would connect to it. There we go. Yes. Hey.
No, I fully get it now.
Yes.
That yellow.
Yes. And I know you were not being rigid. I know that because I don't think you're not rigid. I know that.
Was not obtuse on purpose.
No, I knew you weren't being rigid. It was more just like, it's true. It was more like, I know you'll get archetypes. That's all. I knew it wasn't because of a rigidity where you got it. It was just like, oh my gosh, how do we? But you're right. This is a better way to explain it.
That makes perfect sense to
A
me.
universal inherited idea. Exactly. Where it's these unconscious things that we all, like, you can talk about a table to somebody on the other side of the planet, and you guys will have certain things you describe differently about it and certain that will absolutely cross over.
Right.
And even the ones that might not cross over, the other person's going to go, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that makes sense too.
And now I understand why it could be so fascinating and expansive.
Yes.
Now
For me,
I
it
get
was like, holy crap, this is so interesting.
Episode title, Philosophy of the Faucet.
But right, do you see what I mean though? That then all of a sudden, I swear to God, this book could have the faucet and I'd be like, whoa. Because it would be like, the faucet gives hydration, but it's also made of metal and therefore represents strength. It's like representations.
Halfway to lead
it can turn
poisoning.
on and it can turn off. It's halfway to lead poisoning. Right, no, but it could also poison you. You know,
Yeah.
like it could be the giver of life or it could be poison. That is the faucet.
It is the kitty drinking well. When
Oh my God,
mommy
the archetype of the faucet.
has neglected to change your water bowl.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So now that our entire listenership has unfollowed.
Has absolutely unfollowed. Never to be seen or heard from again.
What's up, y'all, if you're still here?
Fucking archetypes.
Dude, fuck.
Once I understood archetypes, that's what opened tarot to me the most.
Yeah.
100%. Because it was no longer about having to have, for me, rigid ideas of what a card means.
Right.
Which was so hard for me. Like, and I think Mikkel, she was so good at naturally going like an archetypal route without ever considering it that way, because she was so much more open with the imagery than I was.
Right.
And I was less so in the beginning when I first started tarot, because it was all about just memorizing given definitions of each card, which was a great way to start. It's the bones of it. And like, I want to know what the cards
intended to mean.
But then of course you have to open up to like different people have different intentions with the meanings, etc. But also you're getting all these different decks with different imagery.
Right.
And so the idea of like archetypes really helps. So like Queen of Swords no longer had to be like, it's a woman who's a queen, represents air energy, who represents the mental, which means she's like a mentally strong queen. It was also like, what's the archetype of the queen? So like the queen can be loving, but the queen might be harsh depending on what kind of queen she is. Like she's a ruler, and then it started becoming more about that. Like, what does the sword represent? The sword can be protective, but can also slice you. Like things like that was able to be brought into my tarot practices once I started to understand archetypes.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, okay, you can just be much more exploratory. You have more of a frame of reference of like questions to ask yourself. Like, well, what does that represent? Like, what else could it represent? Like, push yourself, be creative,
right.
Get weird.
Oh, yeah. Get weird and also go with your intuition.
Go with your intuition, right. Yeah. But it opened your intuition. Because if you got exploratory in the way the archetypes are, you're like, oh, okay, if I thought of this archetypally, I'd just be like real weird about it.
Right.
That was great. I'd be really like mind opening and think of different weird things I wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what did you tell me that Riz meant?
Charisma.
Okay.
He's got mad riz.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I also just learned, so on this week's segment of Gen Z vocab that we're learning, no cap.
Oh, I know that one.
But do you know what it comes from?
I know I did at one point.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I never did until, so the person who taught it to me was a kid at work who I love. And he was like, no cap, on God, respectfully. And we were just like all laughing, and all of us old ones were like, what is no cap? And then he had to explain no cap, but he only explained it as it just meaning no lie. Like he didn't actually say anything more. And we were like, oh, okay, no cap, whatever. But then this one time, only like a month ago, and he taught it to me like 3 months ago, he was like, no cap. He said it to his brother. And then as he's walking away, he goes, I would never capitalize on you like that. And I was like, wait, is that what no cap means?
Got it. Yeah.
To capitalize.
Uh-huh.
I would never capitalize on your suffering. No cap. And I was like, oh my God, I did not.
Right.
I did not know
Okay,
that.
now I remember that. Yeah.
I did not know.
Wait, there was another one that means the same thing. Oh my God.
No cap. On God, respectfully.
Yes, the on God
well,
one.
On God, I love.
No, there's another one that's just like that. Oh my God, it was so funny. On phonum.
I'm sorry, what?
On phonum.
On phonum?
Okay, I don't know if it's Chicago, but it's like, it's on God is what it means. And so I got this from my Gen Z friend.
Yeah, of course.
It is same thing, but like heavily slang. I don't remember if it's like Chicago original, but it's like you're swearing on like your family. So what it comes from is like on folks and them, on phonum. And there's probably like a gang hit out for me now for saying that out loud. They're like, who the fuck are
just
you?
Explained that.
Bitch, shut up.
Yeah.
There were some other really cool ones though. It was funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I like could go find a
that
video
is
of
amazing.
all of that.
That is
it was super interesting.
fucking amazing.
I was like, dude, you're bilingual. You understand all that shit. It's funny.
It's literally bilingual.
It's a different language. It's so
a different
cool.
language. It's amazing. Okay, I pulled 2 archetype cards, and honestly, I think Anima Mundi is the last card in the deck.
I think it is too. This is the fault line. Oh my God, let's talk about that. That speaks to me.
Cool. No, Alethea is the last. No, Anima Mundi is the last card. The soul of the world, all that is.
Shut the fuck up. Wait, stop right now.
Okay.
Okay, y'all, no exaggeration. I legitimately had a drugless ayahuasca trip, and I don't know how else to explain it. I was at this incredible retreat, and there was this woman that did breathwork, energy healing. She was absolutely incredible. Kimberly, if you're listening, I love you so much. And I, for real, no exaggeration, had a moment in there, and I could not tell you how long it was because the whole experience was completely timeless. But I had the very clear and certain experience of the oneness of everything.
Right.
And it kind of looked like this. Like, I understand all the spiritual things that look like this card.
Yeah.
This Anima Mundi.
Yeah.
Because that's, and I can't even say that's what I saw, but like, that was the projection of the feeling that I had of everything being one. It was like this figure in the center, and like there were bright colors around it, and it was like this central thing, but like everything was rushing towards the center, and it was all the same thing, sort of. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then
soul of the world.
This thing.
Soul of the world, all that is.
All that is.
Yeah.
So like one of the taglines of this retreat that I went to, called Miracles Normalized, one of the taglines is, "You are all that is." I think I even have a sticker that says something like, "You are all that is."
Weird. Whoa.
And
this is a crazy looking card, y'all.
Yeah, it's
so much random
fucking
energy.
amazing.
Because I think it's well, no, there's a lot of eyes. There's a lot of eyes. I don't know. Okay, let me read it. Anima Mundi epitomizes the principle, quote, accept all, reject none. Simply put, it is the living soul of the world in all its multifaceted, multidimensional layers, bonded together by loving cosmic forces. Diversity is celebrated, multiplicity is honored, and nothing is denied embrace. Constructs of separation dissipate into the wonderful mess of shared consciousness. Anima Mundi is the link between the literal and the imaginal, the rational and the mythic. It is the connective fiber that makes life meaningful. This card indicates an initiation on the level of the soul. You will awaken the unique light within and witness how this light contributes to the radiance of the entire universe. You will sense yourself as a critical note in the cosmic orchestra. Destiny is altered as you hear the enchanted melody of all living things. I know. Okay, there's little other parts too, really quickly. They always have these 2 side notes on each card. The embrace of Anima Mundi is available anytime, anywhere, to anyone, day or night, rich or poor. It is a process of unveiling our resistance to its love. That's so your shit. Me too. And then also, Anima Mundi is the energy behind the world card in the tarot deck.
Okay, yep.
Both carry themes of universal unity, completeness, and embrace. And then it also has when light and when dark. So when light, tending to the sacred details of life. When dark, overwhelmed by the bigness of existence. And then go deeper, alchemical drawings of Anima Mundi, the life and paintings of Hilma af Klint.
That is so interesting.
Right?
Because I guess something that's been highlighted for me in the last few weeks. There was certainly something you said. There was certainly something my friend Megan said. There was a bunch of shit that Kyle said. Hi, Kyle.
Who ran her retreat.
Right. Who is in incredible physical shape. Just to note that.
Okay. Noted.
Noted. And it's just that I have had a very unconscious block around receiving. And
totally.
It's supported by, or it was supported by a ton of unconscious beliefs about deserving, about having permission, about the availability of abundance and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, and I think also just like the delineation between you and me and yours and mine. And
I thought you meant you and me literally until you said yours, and I was like, you and me.
Yes, you're that Maria and I'm this Maria.
That's right.
And we're separate.
Right. But it's only an illusion. We are so one. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, you and me and yours and mine.
Yeah, and ownership and shit like that. I'm just realizing how many blocks I have held on to that I'm now releasing as I see them as best I can around what I believe, not only that I am allowed to receive, but also like what's available.
I know. And there's so much. I know. Oh my God. You're doing so much like blockages work and shit. It's so cool. Okay. Well, let me read the fault line. The fissure, the crack, the weak line. Imagine walking across a frozen lake that begins to crack before your eyes. No matter how optimistic and brave you might be, panic ensues. You become fearful and tense and long for stable ground. Such is the energy of the fault line. It's the energy of walking on eggshells, of precarious dynamics, of sensing what is ready to break open into chaos. It's likely this cracking open is overdue, as fault lines develop slowly and naturally from underlying elemental pressures. This card comes as a potent warning not to deny the shakiness that's afoot. It's much better to prepare yourself for change than to walk along the fault line pretending all is well. There is no easy...
Oh, God.
I know. There is no easy fix for the situation at hand. It will require a foundational shift that alters the current dynamics from the ground up. Wow. Okay, and then it is possible that something a loved one said caused a crack in your relationship that has never been mended. Revisit it. The time to heal is nigh. And, oh, I like this one too. In Japanese kintsugi pottery, gold is used to mend cracks. Breaks are thought of as precious rather than something to be hidden. Have you ever seen that pottery?
Yes.
Okay, you love. Okay. You're gonna be like, yeah, I have a tattoo of it. I didn't tell you. Never mind. Of course you do. When light, redefining reality, breaking open. When dark, precariousness, pretending, delusion. I like this one. Go deeper. Dance to Everything is Broken by Bob Dylan.
What up, Bob?
What up, Bob? Oh, damn. Well, this was a cool card pull.
It was. It reminded me of several things. What we were talking about the other day after our marathon brunch about how, like, we've observed that it is difficult for people to be met with the statement, the system is broken.
Oh my God, that. Yep.
Because the way that people have tended to function is, I will acknowledge this problem if I am sure that the solution is within reach and understanding. And there seems to be an obstacle for a lot of people despite the many facts to support it, but there seems to be an obstacle for many people to be able to say or hear, quote unquote, the system is broken. Because, like, when I say that, there's a lot of systems I'm talking about. And they're all interwoven.
Yeah.
But to even broach that idea, I think it's easier for a lot of people to resist or deny it simply because there is no obvious solution.
Mm-hmm.
And we've not been accustomed to identifying a problem and simply being present with that.
Yes.
Without immediately jumping to some type of chaotic, desperate, MacGyvered solution.
Totally. And what I've observed is that people will acknowledge it, but in a frantic way of, no, I know it's broken. No, I agree, it's broken. But, like, it's this, like, dismissive way. I agree with you. There's some people that do that too. But, like, also I've seen this other experience where it's like, it's not that they're not going to acknowledge the system's broken, but they'll dismissively acknowledge it in a frantic way that then there's now going to be a lot more words said afterwards as well. There's never a pause. And it's to try to figure out, well, let's, like, define what system broken mean. You know, it's something like that. Like, let's, in this one conversation with me, it'll be like, okay, well, now let's define what you mean by the system is broken. And then let's talk about solution. Well, what do you think we should do about it? Now you're going to, like, also kind of almost accusatorily ask me for the answer if I'm so sure of myself or, like, something, not meaning to do it. These people don't mean to do it.
It's as though you said, the archetype of the broken system, discuss.
Right. Correct. And so what Maria and I were talking about the other day was like, or what you and I were talking about, sorry, podcast people, I never know if I'm supposed to talk to the audience or you. Okay, anyway.
I think we talk to each other and then
also talk to the people
break
we're talking
the fourth
to.
wall.
Yeah, right?
Sometime.
Wow.
I don't know.
So deep. So reality TV. Just kidding. So that was something I started to notice the last few years was like, I noticed it in myself, was that like every issue in my own life, the panic and the fear and the anxiety always came from the fact that I would find an issue I'm having and then be like freaking out about the issue. Like, I gotta fix it. I gotta figure it out. I'm doing something wrong. How can I fix this? What can I do? I'm doing something wrong. Just all of that chatter and like practicing the last few years of being like, okay, say this pretend thing. I don't like my job. Usually it was, I don't like my job. Oh my God, but I have to have a job, but I need to work, but I need money, but oh my God, I need to this, but I need to that, but I need to this, but I need to that. Oh my God, this, oh my God, that. How do I fix it? Okay, well, I could get this job, but no, I can't do that. It just like so much. And finally I started being like, I don't like my job, period, stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't mean the voices didn't stop. What I mean to say, it was the start of the practice of actually feeling the feelings that are coming with the voices and like doing the meditative practice of, okay, my brain is freaking out about this problem. My brain is trying to find a solution. Really, I just feel what? I feel overwhelmed. I feel scared. I feel tired. I feel sad. I don't like my job. I feel unfulfilled. I feel these things.
Right.
Okay, I feel all those things. And that sucks to feel. So I'm going to sit here and I'll acknowledge it sucks to feel that way. But really all I still have to do is I'm allowed to just say, I don't like my job. And like, that's it.
Right.
There's no solution right now. There's nothing to be done. I just don't like my job.
Right. And I think that's also just like this whole like problem solver aspect of our society, because it's no wonder that that is what your brain does and mine too. And I think even to add one other element to it, it's that I think we're also just so used to the problem solver voice in your head is just so sure that everything's a problem. Like it takes any information and decides it's a problem. And I like, even, it's just interesting as you're talking, I remember like I caught myself yesterday being like, I'm tired. And very subtly, like I don't even think there were words, but I realized there was a part of me that was somehow trying to solve for being tired.
Yeah.
And so just barely on a conscious level, because there weren't even words, but I caught it and it was like, but how about I just be tired today? And I don't try to fix that. And I didn't feel like resting either. Like there wasn't anything to be done. It was just like, can I just go through my day and be tired without trying to solve it?
Right.
Like, why is that a problem? It's simply a state of being. It's not a problem unless I fucking make it one.
Right. And like, that's the thing. Back to the job example, it's like, that's where it's like, where you give in to whatever the more gentle language is, when you just like are in that hamster wheel of like, oh my God, but I gotta get another job, or like, what am I gonna do, or how do I solve this, or like, what is my blah, 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 blah. Then you also make really weird choices and decisions from that place.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So you either stay in the job. That's one option that happens a lot to most of us. We've all done it. Here, let me talk about my own experience. When I have stayed in jobs longer than necessary, it's because I stayed in those thought loops without just letting myself go, I don't like this job. Because I know when I finally have started to leave jobs, it's where I go, I don't like this job and I'm going to leave. And that's where I can now leave it. That's like the next step. I'm not leaving it tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going next. I don't have a solution. I don't know what I want to do with my life, quote unquote, which is we all grew up hearing this bullshit. What are you going to do with your life? What's your career? What are you doing with your life? You know, oh yeah, that's a really simple question to answer. Jesus fucking Christ. I cannot believe we were raised this way. It's rough. All of us. Our parents included, like everyone, just for eons, man.
It also just like flashed in my head this song that I really like. It's like some dance song, but it's like, hey, what you doing for the rest of your life?
Oh, yeah.
And then the other voice is, I don't even know what I'm doing tonight.
Oh, my God. I think that's Kylie Minogue.
Really?
We're listening to so much Kylie. Hey, what you doing for the rest of your life?
I mean, and yeah, it's like nobody's fault, but it's just like such a weird thing to...
Yeah, so no one's fault. It's just like we're waking up to it where it's like, oh man, poor all of us that we've been like, had this like crazy pressure put on us. To be like starting at 16, you know, you're like trying to pretend to start applying to college in a year or two, and suddenly it's like, figure out what you're doing with your life. What? Are you kidding me? That's insanity. And we all do it all the time. And so of course we're still running on those programs, and like that's the stuff you and I are trying to undo because it's in our literal brains. Right. And we do hear it from outside sources, you know, and hear from people in our lives that really love us. We constantly get that messaging. What are you going to do with your life? But you need a pension. But you need a 401k. But you need a...
How are you going to provide for yourself?
How are you going to provide for yourself? But you need health care.
I know you like nice things. You're going to have to support yourself.
Oh my God. How are you going to support yourself?
I know.
I literally know, actually. Thank you, though, so much.
Yeah. Well, and so to go back to what you were saying about like the statement, I don't like my job, and then all the problem solver voices.
Right.
It's just so interesting how that functions, because what you pointed out is like you make weird choices from that place.
Yes.
When you are so inundated and overwhelmed by these frantic, chaotic, desperate voices of like, this is a problem that needs to be solved. And like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It either causes stagnation or weird ass choices.
Right. Weird ass choices.
That don't
really
yield any...
No, don't yield any like good results. That nothing positive, nothing loving and joyful. It's just like more of the same.
Right, and like, that's how people get caught, and we've gotten caught, I've gotten caught in feelings of stagnation.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. We're getting better at this, you guys.
Absolutely. Because like there's just that sense of us all needing to learn how to just sit with discomfort is really what it comes back to always. And like knowing the system is broken. Let's just go back to the system. I can't wait for the days that each of those different people that we're talking about do kind of like, I think because it comes down to surrender.
Oh, yeah.
And like surrendering is that first step to letting the universe kind of like bring some new shit in for you. But a lot of times, if you don't kind of consciously ahead of time learn how to surrender and then surrender, the universe is going to bring you to your knees.
Yes. Oh, I wish you guys could see her face.
But
it's like, sorry about you.
It just is. Yeah, sorry about it. It like just is. And usually we see it with people having like physical and emotional breakdowns, which is completely fair. But it's because they're like running themselves ragged, not being able to just sort of sit with the problem and go like, I'm not okay, period. I'm not okay and I need to do something about it. Or that place of just, I guess it becomes like this desperate surrender sometimes when the universe brings you to your knees and you're like, fuck it. Like now I'm actually out of options. I'm suddenly bedridden out of nowhere. I literally can't get out of bed anymore. I've suddenly been struck with a neurological disease.
Right.
Like, or I'm so fucking depressed. I've never been this goddamn depressed in my life. I literally give up. And like, that can be dark.
And I think in some cases, maybe necessary. I don't know. It's funny that we're on this topic now, though, because I had just like the most loving and profound conversation with a friend yesterday. And I'm just in this profound, trusting free fall into the unknown of where the universe wants to take me. And that is not to say that it's without fear, because there's plenty of fear. And there's lots of other people's fear that are like bashing me upside the head all the time.
All the time.
But in this conversation with my friend, I was expressing just the free fall, but also my faith that is so calm and certain and unfucking deniable.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I don't have that faith.
Mm-hmm.
What is that like? I wish I had that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just interesting because I guess sort of the way I came around it too, she was saying just sort of that like she has had such negative experiences with quote unquote religion, God, spirituality, blah, 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 that she's aware she's thrown the baby out with the bathwater and wants nothing to do with the idea of faith and spirituality, and was sort of experimenting in that moment with, I kind of want that.
Bringing the baby back.
Yeah, like pulling a leg in or something. Get some of those little bread loaf toes. And wait, where was I going?
The surrender part. So sometimes you have to be brought to your knees, and it's true, like not having the faith. Yeah.
That part. And what I said to her though is I was like, because she's contending with some big feelings and possibly some big life changes, and many, 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 many people are right now in a way that I am fully excited about, and we're both really excited about it. Mm-hmm. But what I was talking about with like surrender and faith when I was talking to her is that I had the same experience with the religious trauma and the misuse of those terms and all the chaos that organized religions have caused and how different people have been harmed. And like, I'm not even coming for organized religions in this moment.
Totally.
But what I was saying to her was that like, I was not able to open up. I was in the same place, closed off to everything, threw away the baby with the bathwater, didn't give a shit, didn't want anything to do with it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Until I was on death's door, on my knees, had nothing else. Mm-hmm. And then there was this tiny little opening, and like she shouldn't... It was like I didn't want her to feel bad that she couldn't be open to it right now.
Yeah. Because
it was like, you might need to be at your knees.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I could then say, which I don't think I even said to her, and this is not to tell anyone that like, if you don't choose this, then it's your fault. But like,
no,
you get to decide when you are on your knees. You get to decide when you've hit your bottom. Mm-hmm. I've had people say to me too, like, oh, I love that you believe that. I wish I believed that. Like, you can. Mm-hmm. It's available to you. I ain't special.
Right.
Have it.
Mm-hmm. I listened to some Abraham Hicks video this morning, and she was saying, it was saying, wait, let's be clear. I'm not talking about like
Esther.
A gendered something. That wasn't me just being like dismissive of like it, they. No, it's not about a pronoun thing. It's someone who channels an entity. Let's just say it.
Right, so we're talking about the entity.
It's a woman named Esther Hicks who channels an entity that she calls Abraham. So people refer to them as Abraham Hicks. So it's a they, a she, a he, an it. It's an entity. It's an other consciousness that she's channeling, whether or not you believe it. But they were saying like a belief is just a thought you think over and over again. Like you just keep thinking. Because I think belief is, maybe there was a little more eloquence to it, but I think that was pretty much it. It was just like a belief is a thought that you just keep thinking. And I do agree with it. But I mean, maybe there was a little more nuance, but I don't really think so.
Like, you keep thinking it to the point that you accept it as fact.
Certainly, us humans take it all the way there. Yeah, for sure. So then you just keep thinking it and thinking it, thinking there's no other way to think, which means there's no other way to believe. And again, like, that's why you and I are so like into the spirituality stuff. Maria and I were both raised in the same Catholic church, not just in Catholicism the same. No, we went to the same church growing up. And
because we're the same person.
Very much. I mean, we did have extremely different home lives though, and home experiences of the way the Catholicism was brought to us. So that's been pivotal in differences, but we both on our separate paths and journeys came back to like faith and surrender and stuff kind of parallel to one another, because that's where we're the same. It's like all parallels all the time. For whatever reason, I was lucky enough to like dodge the more painful version of religious trauma, where like it was shoved down my throat so much that I had to completely go away from it out of desperation of safety. Like, I gotta go away from that. That is so not okay for me. I thankfully didn't go there. I kind of just like experimented with atheism because I was like, I don't believe in that God, and I don't believe in the stuff you're telling me. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, Jesus seems like a pretty cool dude. Why are we making him weird?
Right. What's up, Jesus?
What's up, Jesus? How you doing? But like, why are we making him and his message weird?
Right.
So it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, I'm good. I don't believe in God because I don't believe in that God. But I have the same hang-up. I still have hang-ups with the word God that I just acknowledge, and I just don't use the word. But you use it a lot.
Right.
And it's great because I'm just like, all right, we're using this word. Because I also know what you mean by it.
Yeah. Which, like, if you're just joining us, when I say God, it's shorthand for whatever higher power is there. And
Source, the universe, Sky Daddy.
Spirit.
Spirit. Right.
Oneness. The now.
Unity. The now. Yeah. Okay.
All of it.
All of it. Well, wait. Good orderly direction.
Kill me.
But yeah, like, it's a placeholder for higher power, whatever it is. But it's like so funny because it's like the collective has such religious trauma. Like, you didn't even have to have grown up in the church, because that's the whole point. If you didn't grow up in the church, you most likely grew up with parents who were passing on their religious trauma by being like, no, there's no God. We're like, no. Or, you know, or whatever. We don't subscribe, you know. So
or
we
those
don't subscribe.
Crazy God people.
Yeah, or we don't subscribe to that in this house. Or like, you know, and they might not even have said that out loud, but they just be like, no, I don't believe in God. We don't talk about that. Like, again, they might not literally say that, but it's just like an unspoken topic. Right. God doesn't exist. We don't talk about that here. That's not a thing. And the word faith, the word spirituality, all these words have been co-opted by that. I keep wanting to bring them back. I'm trying to take them back. It's real hard because they shut people off. Mm-hmm. And people go, faith, what a crazy concept. I wish I could have that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh man. But that's also what Abraham Hicks calls getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. Mm-hmm. I feel like anybody who says, I wish I had that, is getting ready to get ready to get ready to get ready. To like explore allowing some sort of faith in.
Right.
What do you put your faith in? What does faith mean? Because you get to choose what faith means to you too. It's not outside of you. It's not a fucking priest telling you to have faith in their God. That's not what faith is.
Right.
Faith is trust, and it's like real, like, not easy. I mean, it's not like, it can be easy, it gets there, blah, 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 but still, it can be scary. What I kept thinking about while you were talking was like, I know there's a concept that I have felt before, but I definitely hear it from friends of this, like, I think the idea and the feeling is like, if I have faith, what if something doesn't go well? Then I feel stupid and naive, and you better prepare for the worst. It's like that kind of thing.
Right. Right. Well,
when the truth is, I know you and I have very deep faith, and 100% no bad shit's always gonna happen.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right?
Circumstantially, sure.
That's what I mean, circumstantially. Like,
here's another thing that was super interesting, which I kind of was like weirdly excited about. You will understand this. But the friend that I was talking to said, in this conversation of faith, said, well, I have faith that things are going to go badly. And I was like, that's a thing. That's an opening. Go with that. Mm-hmm. And I told somebody else recently that was struggling with their belief in a higher power. And I said, well, it doesn't have to be this sunshine worship gratitude thing. If you're pissed at God or whatever entity you want to name it, be that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's your in. But there's no rules. Like, it's this personal relationship for you. If you want to be fucking pissed at the universe
Yeah.
That's the only way that you can relate to the universe right now.
Great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a relationship.
That's a very good point.
Like, just do that.
Yeah.
And then just see how that goes for a little bit.
Right. Because I think that so many people, when they're feeling lost, it's because it's like, and confused and overwhelmed and exhausted. It is because you feel so alone. Because you're like, well, what the fuck is any of this? Mm-hmm. And then it feels really pointless. And like...
And there's usually some guilt, I think, that goes with it, too. When it's like you feel lost and alone, and then... I don't know, I just heard many people be like, I know I should be grateful.
Oh my God, totally.
I know I should.
I know that someone's got it worse than me. Like, there's a lot of that, too. Like, I shouldn't even feel bad right now. And that's, again, just shutting down how you fucking feel.
Right, you're denying your own experience.
You're denying your own existence and your own experience. It's like, oh my God, fuck. This isn't a fucking contest.
Right, and there's no supposed to, and there's no should, and there's literally no rules.
Literally no fucking rules, which is really funny. Heading towards wrapping up, I think it's such a cool time to be alive because I think these are things that people have struggled with for generations, and watching people struggle with the like faith, spirituality, where the fuck are we in this fucking universe, on a rock in space, stuff is so challenging and scary and hard feeling and icky and sad sometimes and blah. So it's easy to sort of, I know people in those positions, it's so easy to be like, this is the hardest time ever to be alive. We're going through so much. Things are darker than they've ever been.
And it's just because the old shit's dying.
Right. But, and what I was going to say is, what I've thought about a lot is like, but the people that we like talk about, like referencing us as being in such a difficult time and it being so hard for us right now, I just think it's really forgetting how fucking hard people have had it for a while.
Right.
Just how challenging entire lives have been because they've had to live in those old paradigms and old ways of being small and not being able to have any faith in anything and not believing in anything and feeling very alone and not feeling supported by anything and just feeling so confused and lost. It's like that happened a lot for a while. People going their entire lives, like right now you hear so much about like people trying to perk people up by being like, no one on their deathbed looked back and was like, I wish I'd spent more time at work, you know? Or people are on their deathbeds going, I wish I had done what I wanted to do. I wish I'd lived this way or that way or whatever. And honestly, all the people out there who are having a really hard time with like crisis of faith shit and like, what the fuck is this job I'm doing and who am I doing this for and what do I actually believe in? Like, you're right where you should be because you're not going to be on death's door doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're starting the process of going, oh my God, I need to not care about this old way of doing things and do it the way I want to do it. And I'm not sure what that means or what that looks like, but...
Right. And I think, too, just like what you're saying about this being such a cool time to be alive is because for the first time in recent generations, we're not in survival mode.
Yep.
To expand upon, like, the hierarchy of needs, I mean, in past generations, we had just figured out how to live in a way in many places in the world, how to live in a way so it wasn't fear of your next meal or where you're going to sleep last night. There was, to some degree, an abundance of
resources.
Yeah, of those resources at first. And so, like, we are now, in most recent generations, having the space to evaluate on a level that has not been available before, which is that of fulfillment and spiritual growth, because all the material needs in many places are not a concern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yet there's still so much shit to figure out. So that's what it is. It's like really interesting that like we do have the space collectively, and then we find ourselves still suffering in like a home we don't like or having trouble connecting with the abundance, which is where that next step is going to be right now. That's what people are working with, to now try to find that faith and surrender that there also is abundance. And it can be in different forms than maybe you're receiving it right now. But you are still receiving abundance. If you've got like a roof over your head, it's not to make you feel guilty. It's not to make you feel like you should be grateful for what you've got. It's not like that. But it's just like, yeah, but you do have a roof over your head. You do have food to eat. You are actually safe. You're not getting kicked off your land. Right. Those people. It's like, yeah, they're having like some crises right now, but because there's space to have it.
Right. It poses an interesting challenge too, because in a lot of places in the world, those fears do still exist.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of collective guilt about that.
Yes.
And I know that we've talked so much about like, okay, but the only way to solve for that, because of course we do want to.
Yes.
The only way to do that is for us to step into and allow for the abundance in ourselves for those freedoms, because we are actually free.
Right.
To step into that, to create this big ripple effect that could.
Right.
And will.
Yes. Affect those parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Right. But
and
not the old way where you go over and try to physically solve it.
Right. And it's actually probably going to happen much faster than we all think, in ways that we can't possibly conceive of with our little baby human brains.
Totally. And that's where like you come up with those friction conversations where someone's trying to ask you for the answer.
Right.
Well, oh, you think that? Oh, you believe that? Oh,
well,
like,
how are you going to do that?
Well, how are you going to do it? You sound so naive if you don't actually have a concrete response to me and plan. And it's like, no, I just have faith, but I get it. It's not like I'm never scared. I just have faith. I think I'm onto something. I think this idea is right. You know, no right and wrong, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure we're onto something, that if we do our own inner work and keep working on that, it really is literally changing the world.
Right.
So.
And I know we're onto something.
I know. Me too.
It's so big. It brings me to tears.
I know. And it's fun. In all the chaos and all the...
Well, and that's like that's the essence of it, though. Mm-hmm. It's like fun.
Yeah.
It's the fun that is like the change maker.
Yes.
In all of it.
Yeah.
And allowing for that.
I know, because people have not been allowed to have fun for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
So now we try to have more fun.
We allow for more fun.
And even have fun in the growth process, learning how to have fun in the growth. That includes pain.
Right. And when that feels hard, I think it's just a matter of choosing the curiosity over...
Like the rigid fear.
Yeah, the rigid fear, or the wallowing in the pain, which is not to say don't feel it, but also just have some curiosity and... like, yeah, playfulness to it almost, which I know sounds
right and
paradoxical.
Yeah, it's not really like playing like kids' playtime, but playing around with. Yeah, right.
Like don't take yourself so fucking seriously.
Don't take yourself so fucking seriously. It's really hard when you're in a really dark place. Like we all get that too.
Right.
But you're actually not alone, and I think as a collective we are all getting better at providing each other with resources, so that people who feel really, really, really alone 30 years ago would have been really, really, really alone.
Absolutely.
But right now there's these seeds everywhere that if you isolate for long periods of time, years, fine. There's still seeds now to go, you don't have to do that, and you can talk to people now. Not even you have to call the hotline. You can literally find some people around you. Mm-hmm. It'll take bravery to like speak up, but we're all more available now for one another. Absolutely. And that I'm very excited for. Yeah. You can just talk to a friend at work one day when you're finally that desperate. And you're going to find they probably actually might have some space for you. And like they might actually show up in a constructive way rather than the weird ass way we used to show up for each other. Right? I don't know. But yeah. I'm hopeful.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so is Spot.
Except for the moments when I'm not, and those are real too.
Amen. Amen. And on that note. No, it's true. No, it's true. It's all allowed.
We love you guys. Thanks for learning archetypes with us.
Oh, God. Yep.
Also, we're on YouTube now. Follow us on Instagram.
And thanks for being here.
Holla. Talk to you guys next week. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Talk to you in 2 weeks.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and most importantly, share. This episode was hosted by Maria and Maria. Theme music composed and performed by Maria. Logo design by Maria. Recorded and produced by Maria. Snacks provided by Maria. Moral support provided to Maria by Maria.